Hey everyone, I truly hope you are enjoying your time in Final Fantasy XI right now, and with all these new Odyssey updates and the voracious resurgence storylines around the corner, honestly, who isn't? If you're tired of farming by Tetsu and you just can't seem to win Ambuscade on very easy, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Epoch 99's Rune Fencer Guide, updated for 2021. In this guide, we'll be covering all the basics of the Rune Fencer job and talking about some of the advanced tactics the job has to offer. Topics like enmity generation, how to cast phalanx, the importance of fast cast, how to use your weapon skills, how to avoid amnesia effects, selecting the right trusts, and so much more. So strap up, get down, shimmy left, and boogie right. It's time to enchant the rune. It's time to repair the fencer. Please don't let this job ruin the game for you. I mean, tank it or leave it. Rune is pretty awesome. Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome to this new Rune Fencer guide, where I'm going to be talking about how to play the job of Rune Fencer and giving some examples of the gameplay in the Omen content. Alright, so tip number one, use your food. Tip number one, use your food before you go in, because you get double time. But that's okay, you don't really need to have that. So in the Omens, you want to go ahead and summon some trusts. I like to pull out my healer, some Mambaro. I usually go full support, so I'll throw out some Wahims, maybe some Koromoru. Sometimes I use Omiya and do double bard, but I think today, I'll do double bard. And then I usually have maybe one DPS to just help me out with skill chains and stuff. But you could probably swap in maybe another healer or another support there. And then start to pull some jobs. So I usually pull with Flash. That's kind of my go-to. I swap into my Enmity set when I cast the Flash spell. And I have it all macroed out with a bunch of different gear sets with Ashita, so I can swap into my TP set. That's usually what I default to in content like Omen, where I'm not full-blown tanking. For these guys, if you want to avoid their paralysis effects, you can throw on not that one, but not that one, not that one. You see what I've done here is I have macroed in the sort of reminder for myself of what the different rune abilities actually do, which you can't see because I don't have the thing fit to screen right now. Transform, fit to screen, boom, much better. Okay, so the Ignis rune is going to prevent fire-based. It's going to give you fire resistance, and since paralyzed, they fiery-based enfeeble, it will help you not get paralyzed by these mobs. I do have a Proletary these days, so I'm going to go ahead and use Demediation to get my tier 3 aftermath effect. Pull with foil. Pull with flash. In my flash set, I actually have it's a Treasure Hunter Enmity hybrid set. So I have 3 pieces of gear that do +1 Treasure Hunter. So I have 3 pieces of Treasure Hunter gear swapping in when I cast Flash, which I like on Rune Fencer because that's usually what I pull with. And so I usually, and I also use Flash to generate Enmity, and so I'm using that spell as my sort of Treasure Hunter proc. You can do that if you'd like. And all the other gear pieces are our Enmity setups there. So, did I already use it? Just muscle memory used it? Yeah, so I already used Valiance, and what that's going to do is buff your entire party with the runes that you have enchained. And the other bonus that you get from Valiance is that you get this amazing fast cast. So that combined with some of the gear that I have to enhance my fast cast, which you can find those gear sets online. You can see how quick Phalanx kind of goes off there. So make sure you get Phalanx up. That's going to absolutely help with your defensive capabilities. And then always put up Temper. That's going to give you multi-strikes, and it's going to really improve your attack speeds, DPS, and all sorts of good stuff. So make sure you're doing all of those things. If you're tanking on Rune Fencer and you're trying to generate a lot of enmity, you want to make sure that you're using all sorts of different things at your disposal. Foil is a good one. So Foil is a spell that you cast on yourself, and it will generate enmity for the mobs that are attacking you. What's nice about Foil is that it will affect all the mobs that are currently on the hate table, so make sure you're doing that. And you also want to, if you're subbing Dark Knight, make sure that you're stunning. If you try to generate enmity with stun, you can also generate enmity with bio and poisona, but be careful with that, because if you have someone sleeping adds, you don't want to poison them all and then have them all wake up. I do have sets built out for all of my weapon skills and all of my abilities and everything else, so I'm swapping all of those in, of course, throughout. A lot of really useful spells that sometimes go neglected on Rune Fencer. Make sure you're throwing up the regen 4. That's very helpful. If you're having trouble getting spells cast in time, throw up the Aqua Veil. Blink is also useful if in certain situations. I don't usually cast Blink, but if you need a little extra help, you can do that. And then one thing that I do a lot is Embolden. Embolden is a great ability that Rune Fencer gets, which what it does is it lowers the duration of your next enhancing spell, but increases its effectiveness by quite a lot. So I like to go ahead and Embolden Temper, and it really kind of, for the time that it lasts, which isn't that long, you get a really robust multi-strikes buff. So that's really good. The key to Rune Fencer, though, is your gear sets. So right now, this is my TP set. Full Adamir, store TP, build TP, TP, yellow tag, triple tag, as much of that as you can. So you're DPSing effectively if you want to be doing DPS. Now, if you're trying to tank, you're going to need a magic evasion set, which is really, really important, because the major benefit of Rune Fencer is that you have all this great magic evasion, so make sure you have a magic evasion set. Mine looks like this. Got my AF3 body, Terms hat, Terms +1 mittens, a lot of the recommended stuff. This is a really good set. Like, I can sit there and just sort of tank like high-end avatar battles pretty well and survive. I've also got a hybrid set. This is really key if you want to tank but also do a little bit of DPS. If you kind of find yourself in that situation where you don't want to, you want to be safe, but you also want to dish out some damage, make sure you build a hybrid set. And make sure you do maybe like a parry set as well if you want to go for like a parry built set, and then maybe a full-on tank set. That's like your PDT set. Vivacious Pulse is a really nice ability that you get that when you have runes enchained upon you, it will restore your HP based on the number of runes that you have. If you have Tenebrae runes enchained, you'll get an MP back as well, which is a nice little secret thing that not a lot of people know about. So make sure you do that. You can super tank with Rune occasionally, but it's all dependent upon Batuta, so you gotta be careful about that. I usually don't do a lot of that kind of gameplay, but you can if you need to. But yeah, for Omen, for this, I'm just kind of full TP, DPSing. If you're subbing Dark Knight, Last Resort is also good. That's going to give you a lot of extra potency with your weapon skills and your attack speed, so make sure you're using that in the right situations and circumstances, and that's it. So those are just some quick tips. The key thing to Rune Fencer that I've discovered from my personal playtime with it is to make sure that you are building the right gear sets. Make sure you're generating enough enmity. Make sure you have an enmity gear set for swap-ins for things like flash, for things like stun, and all that stuff. And then, oh yeah, I do want to talk about. One of the things you want to make sure you're doing, Rune Fencer is one of the few jobs in the game that really does have a defense against amnesia. Since amnesia is a fire-based spell, and paralysis is actually water-based, which is why, or ice-based, excuse me. Paralysis was ice-based earlier. That's why Ignis was a good choice for that. But amnesia is fire, so if you throw up an Unda water rune, you will be very resistant to the effects of amnesia, which is great if you're fighting a monster that is going to amnesia you. You want to make sure you're using this because amnesia is brutal, and there really isn't a way to deal with it once you've got it. So avoiding it can be really, really good. I hope you enjoyed this guide. Please leave some comments. I'm sure I messed some things up as usual, and I'm sure there's lots of other really good guides out there too. But I'm just trying to contribute to the conversation. Thank you for tuning in, and good luck on your adventures in Vanadio!